So I was watching the Hodge twins today, and I came across this clip they were doing on this chick who was kind of ranting and raving about. See, this is the problem with modern feminism right now, right? Or I don't even believe that feminism is about womanhood or anything to deal with that anymore, because now there's this mindset that we don't even know what a woman is. Or if you define it, you're being a cis person, or I don't know, man. They come up with all these terms. There's all this transgender terms and cisgender and they pronoun and them and he and she and I don't know, man. It makes no sense to me. It's just I want to live a very common sense, very simple life. You know, the more shit you clutter in your head, the more nonsense you have that you can't think straight. You can't do anything because you're so caught up in trying to identify with your outside extremities that you don't take time to focus on your inside extremities. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like, you're all not deep enough, man. You're all looking at the wrong stuff and fighting over the wrong things. But I just wanted to hear this little perspective of this woman who's allegedly she's a soldier. She's a soldier fighting for the United States Army, right? And hear how she talk. It's a clip from their show. So I'll have to cut it off when they start talking.
They will say the dumbest shit ever. All right, okay, let's play it again.
It happened. I woke up from a nap to this. I just extended my contract to continue serving this country
Thank you for
a
your
week
service.
ago.
Thank you
How
for your
am I
service.
supposed to swear to support and defend the Constitution and a country that treats its women like second-class citizens?
Okay. I don't think American people understand what the definition of a second-class citizen is. Let's look up the definition right now. All right, this is what I do, right? I go to something like DuckDuckGo and I type definition of second-class citizen. There it comes up. Okay, so like there's a bunch of sites. Let's go to Wikipedia. Let's get, somewhat reliable. A second-class citizen is a person who is systematically and actively discriminated against within a state or other political jurisdiction, despite their nominal status as a citizen or a legal resident there, while not necessarily slaves, outlaws, illegal immigrants, or criminals. Second-class citizens have significantly limited legal rights, civil rights, and socio-economic opportunities, and are often subject to mistreatment and exploitation at the hands of their putative superiors. Systems with the de facto second-class citizenry are widely regarded as violating human rights. Typical conditions facing second-hand class citizens include, but are not limited to, disenfranchisement, a lack of loss of voting rights, which is not the case in the United States. You still can go to your local state legislation and push for the bills you want in your state. Do your research. Get active. Go out and talk to your representatives. I don't agree with abortion. I think it's a heinous crime. A heinous crime against humanity. But just because I feel that way doesn't mean I'm going to stop you from fighting for what you believe in. Right? That's why we have free speech. That's why we have the Constitution. That's why we debate. That's why we go back and forth. Okay? Let's continue down the thing before I jump on my rant here. Limitations on civil or military service, not including conscription in every case. Restrictions on language, religion, and education. Limitations on the right to keep and bear arms. Restrictions on marriage. Restrictions on housing. Restrictions on property ownership. This is the definition of a second-class citizen. So let's cut back to my girl over here. Thank you for your service, by the way.
How am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to do that with pride? How am I supposed to do that with love and honor?
Okay. How am I supposed to take care of this country, this nation, this womb? Understand something, folks. Your country is a womb. When you join the service, or you serve the military, or you join the police force, or you do some kind of a protective service, your job is to be the womb or the protective layer around your country, to protect it. Likewise, you as the woman, again, we're allowed to disagree on things. Like I said, we have middle ground that we can come to. But for the most part, this kind of rhetoric is dangerous for our culture, our American culture, and I'll tell you why. It's contradictory because, first of all, you're in the military. Well, it kind of makes sense because if you want to shoot kids in other countries, you might as well kill the one in your stomach, right? If that's the logic she's going with, right? I'm saying that as a nation, you could take pride in the fact that we care about our people. We have a culture, or we like to think that we fester a culture of caretaking of the environment, caretaking of each other. And this nonsense about the left are the ones with empathy and the right are the ones who are evil and Nazi, that's bullshit. Because the truth is, if you're an American citizen, regardless of your political stances or views, or whether you're pro this or anti that, we all at the end of the day come together as a nation and we work together. When there's a hurricane, when I was in Florida and I saw Hurricane Katrina come through, I saw all the neighbors come out of their houses, bringing generators and going and picking up water and coming back and helping each other clean up yards and the debris, going to the dump, going around. I mean, America is a beautiful place. So if you're going to represent this country and stand up for it, take pride in that fact, young lady, that you are fighting for a great nation full of great people. The issue of abortion is complex. I can agree with that. I think most rational people in the United States agree with you on certain aspects. If there's a case of rape and incest, if there's a case of a health risk to the mother, I don't think anybody is disputing those things. I think there must be some level of protection for every citizen, even the ones that are on the way. Even the ones that are on the way who are supposed to replace us and carry on our names, our legacies into this great nation, into the future. Okay? You're leading with a very dangerous precedent in your argument. And I think you should really take the time to analyze and think about what you're promoting and what you're saying, because it's not accurate. It's a point of view that's rooted in this false ideology that somehow women are oppressed. And America could not be further from the truth that a woman oppressed today in 2022, that is a lie. You have not taken, you're in the military. You should have traveled to other countries and seen the lives that women in those countries have to live. Haven't you? Some of these women are forced to go through full-term pregnancies with their situations that they live in. Bombs dropping in their villages, loved ones dying, poverty-stricken. But yet somehow they push through and they make children and they keep, because that's their hope. It's the only hope they have. Also because they do a lot of physical activities. See, every civilization, every nation needs to protect its unborn. Needs to have some sort of pride. You just said something about pride. How am I supposed to have pride in my nation and serving my nation if they don't allow me to kill this future citizen of this country? This future unborn person that's on the way due to actions that we participated in. And we choose not to protect it because we want to protect our right to not have to raise another human being, not have to deal with the economic consequences of raising an individual, not having to pay for it. Like, what's the thinking here? What's the ideology behind women who are shouting, "My body, my choice. I can kill it if I want it, if I want to"? See, this is where you all get very unfair in your argument. Because at the same time, in the same breath, you want to attack and penalize men for not stepping up to the plate and taking responsibility for their children. You want to attack men for not doing the things they're supposed to do to ensure a secure, happy home for raising a family. You want all these things from men, but you as a woman don't want any responsibility. That's a dangerous mindset. We need to be cultivating a mindset in our culture of accountability, productivity, creativity, responsibility, accountability. People, there's a reason I started doing this YouTube podcasting stuff. It's because I started looking around and hearing conversations and noticing what people were talking about in numbers. And I realized we're pushing ourselves to a very dangerous end in this country without understanding what we're doing. And we are allowing an outside invading mindset to sink itself on American soil that even our own men and women in uniform protecting our country cannot even stand up for an unborn child. No one is disputing that women need better health care, but let me tell you the truth. Whether you're a man or a woman or a child or a dog or a cat, everybody in a society needs access to proper medical care. And however we get there as a nation, we can do it. If we can send millions of dollars to Ukraine for their sovereignty, which by the way is just money laundering, but you know, to the people who know what's up, you know what's up. Let me bring it back to this young woman. I respect you. Thank you for serving our nation. Thank you for doing your part for this country. And I hope you could find it in your heart to maybe rethink what you're saying and take a moment to have some dialogue with yourself and to think about what you're supporting and promoting. Nothing wrong with wanting to have choices and options. And the beautiful thing about the United States today, is that you have so much freedoms and so much rights as a woman that you take it for granted. But you see, the reason you're speaking from this perspective is because, A, you probably see children as something that's disgusting and you don't want to have to deal with it, and also as a mistake because maybe you slept with the wrong guy or whatever the case, right? So you want to sort of go down this road of thinking that I can justify certain actions by not having to take responsibility because of X, Y, and Z, and you opt out. Fine. If that's the world you want, if that's the America you want, good for you. I think, here's my take on it. I agree with you that we shouldn't have any laws prohibiting people from taking abortions. Because my route, the route or the proposal that I'm offering people is that if we want people to be more caring and nurturing to unborn children, we need to go after it from the perspective of culture. Because at the end of the day, culture dictates politics. Culture is what pushes a nation into the future or into descent or to go. Culture. Culture is the key. So now I've considered myself a counter-culturist because I want to go against what I'm seeing that is very destructive and very dangerous mentally. Now the argument put forth to me is that you're supporting the right-wing agenda. No, I'm not a right-winger. That's a label you put on me because you can't deal with what I'm talking about. You can't handle what we're debating or arguing about. So your only defense mechanism is you got to go to find a label to put me under so that you can just write me off and don't consider anything I'm saying. And this is why the left is losing hard, especially the party that's pushing this right now. You're going to lose big time. And the reason you're going to lose is because you're going about it in the worst way possible. You're censoring people. You're shutting people down. You're attacking people with character, with defamation, with lies, flat out lies. You're using all kinds of tools and weaponry to suppress the population. And the American culture, the American mindset has always been one of a rebel. Always. We've always built a culture around that kind of element of structure and discipline with a little bit of a rebel attitude, a little bit of a middle finger to the people we pay taxes to before we start paying taxes to ourselves, which, by the way, it looks like we're paying taxes to the same families to this day. That's why we're going through all of this, folks. We're in the midst of a culture war that has been perpetuated on us by higher-ups, by people who run the show. And you're walking around here fighting with me because, oh, pro-abortion, pro-gun, pro-this, pro-that, oh, anti-gun, anti-abortion. We're all running around debating superficial shit. And we're not really dealing with the real problems at hand. The real problem is culture. Take the time to invest yourself into your communities, wherever you live, and talk to the young people. Let them understand and see that there are other ways of thinking and processing and analyzing stuff. And that maybe not everything you hear on the news and the TV is the gospel. Talks amongst yourselves, people. We got to start doing this big time. Huge. So to wrap it all up, young lady, I respect you. I think that, thank you for your service. You're doing a wonderful job. And nobody's forcing you to re-enlist. If you don't want to go back in, don't do it. Maybe your destiny is to pick a fight with the government about giving human rights to women in the United States for having the right to have abortion for whatever reason. Then you go do that. Go pick your fight, because we live in a beautiful country that allows you to do that, and we can duke it out at the polls. Right? We can duke it out of the polls all day long. That's what the American dream is about, baby. That's what the American dream is. So I say to you, please reconsider your stance and take the opportunity to learn from everybody else who may have a difference in opinion about what you're saying. And understand that we do not have, right now, today, in 2022, we do have a second-class citizenry problem, but it's economic. And that's something I think, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, a conservative or a liberal, a progressive, a left-winger or right-winger, whatever you think you are, I think we all can find common ground on that alone. Really, I do. I think we could find common ground on the fact that, you know what? Maybe there are circumstances in which a baby could be not such a great idea right now, so you may need the option to go do what you got to do. But at the end of the day, let's all at least agree that we should try our best to advocate for that unborn life. We have a very nice culture and a very nice society. Let's keep it that way. I have grown up helping people in nursing homes and going to dialysis with my grandfather and talking to the elderly. There is a dangerous culture brewing on the American soil right now that is evil in nature. And it says this: if you do not have anything to contribute to the world, you might as well just kill yourself or not exist. That is the foundation and the basis of this ideology that we're dealing with in the United States. If your carbon emissions is not beneficial to the collective, you should just disappear. And that's the key. That's what I'm trying to bring this back to, guys. This is what you need to be aware of. This is the philosophy you are dealing with. This is the mindset, the subconscious of what these people are thinking, and they don't realize, some of them don't realize how dangerous it is, how detrimental it is to the survival of our Constitution, the flag, the United States, the very concept of America. And the other argument is, well, because we did all these atrocities back in the day and people were oppressed and all these things happened in the past, that means that we must pay for everything now. What kind of a mindset is that? I only see that as an opportunity to serve an agenda politically. It's not a productive argument. It's not going to go anywhere. So you can't rationalize with that kind of a thought process. Right? So you got to be firm and you got to stand strong and you got to say, listen, I want to call out that logic. Let me talk to you about it. Let's have a conversation about it because I don't think it sounds right. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me that you're so heartless and cold that you have this young, poor, vulnerable thing growing inside you. Regardless of whether you believe it's alive or not, that's irrelevant. It's a potential future human being that could go into the world and accomplish so much or not. And if you choose to not go through with it, hey, go ahead. I think that's a good strategy. I think let the people who think like her, let them have free reign. Because all they're doing is weeding themselves out of the herd. That's it. So I think the only reason why this is even being a subject right now, it serves a political mean for these guys. It serves a political agenda for the politicians in Washington to be able to put two camps against each other, pro and anti. In reality, most Americans don't really give a damn. You think most people care that you decided to go get an abortion? Most people don't really care, right? They may frown upon it. They might look down on it. They might tell you, ugh. But most people are like, that's what they did. Let them have their fun or whatever. Who cares? Because I'm going to start a family. I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to do what it takes. I'm going to raise my children. I'm going to do what I can do. I'm going to take accountability and responsibility for my time. I want more people like that in the world. I'd rather have much more people like that in the world. You know what I mean? And the people who talk and think like this and they don't want to have kids, okay, be a spinster. I learned that word from my sis the other day. She's like, I want to be a spinster. I was like, I don't know, what's that? So, anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. Guys, don't be offended. Just because somebody has a difference in opinion about something doesn't mean that you can't be a human being with them. Right? Now, the show that this was on, those guys have a lot of fun. They're comedians. So they go after everybody and they use a different style of talking. But I still love their show, and I think they're doing an awesome job being a counter narrative to the counterculture of what's going on right now in the United States and around the world. There are a lot of uprisings happening in Sri Lanka, in the Netherlands, all across Europe, France. I mean, there's things happening in the world right now, people. Ukraine, Russia, right? On American soil, guys, there is stuff happening here every day. So wake up, be aware of your environment and what we're going through, and be conscious of the conversations you're having, and question everything and be analytical as best as you can and work through the situation. And at the end of the day, my honest opinion is that politics should have nothing to do with whether a woman has an abortion or not. I think culture plays a part with that. And I think we need to start pushing more culture that's rewarding the behavior and giving love to the protection of the unborn and the elderly. Because I see a culture that's disintegrating, where the elderly get no respect and the unborn are justified as being killed because they happen to be inconvenient. They happen to be not the right person I slept with, or, I'm a whore. So I got to, come on, man. Accountability. America, we got to develop a better culture. And being in the military, you are sort of a defender and a protector of this nation, which is a womb, a larger bag or ambiotic sac that's holding this whole nation together. You're the outer layer. You're the thing that you're a part of the placenta that holds this nation together, right? The very nature of that. It's amazing. It's a wonderful thing what you're doing. It's admirable. I commend you for it. You're an amazing person, an amazing human being with a great heart filled with sacrifice and duty and honor, integrity and respect to do something like that, to join the military. So very admirable of you. Very admirable. But maybe you should rethink how you're looking at this a little bit. And don't get me wrong, most people will agree with what you're saying. And I think that's the case. But anyway, that's my episode for today on this. I just want to share my point of view and my opinion on this clip. And like I said, thank you all very much. And keep having conversations. Keep talking. Keep the debates going. Don't be afraid of each other. Love each other. Buy each other an ice cream. Have a beer. Sit at the pool. Shout and argue all you want. But at the end of it, shake hands and say, you know what? We have differences in how we see things. And we'll duke it out at the polls. And we'll figure this thing out together. God bless. And have a good night. And thank you for being amazing, folks. Thanks for listening.